Hey, my friends. So today I'm going to give you the top inner shifts or ways of being that will allow you to essentially step into that next level leadership in your life and in your business and become what I call like an unshakable, unwavering lighthouse in this world. Um, what I'm going to do is with each of these self-sourced quality that I'm going to bring up, I'm going to give you some questions and some inquiries for you to ponder and kind of dive into to activate and maximize your embodiment of this particular shift in your own life and in your own business so that you can more fully start to step into that next level of leadership. For those of you who follow me, you kind of know, you might notice I'm in a slightly different spot. And essentially, I have been moved to the basement. We are doing a full remodeling of our house and have been for a few months now. And so I am, my husband's tackling the second floor, removing all the carpets, redoing the wood floors, redoing the trim, painting, all of that. So I have moved to the basement and I'm wearing a bunch of clothes because even though I have a little heater, it's actually a little cold for me down here. I am used to more warmth. All right. So the other thing I want to tell you about these qualities, these ways of being, is that when I was thinking about this topic, and I was thinking of some of the people I know personally who are really successful leaders and entrepreneurs, mainly in the transformational field, because a lot of my clients are in the transformational healing field. These were some of the things that came up over and over and over for them. So these qualities are qualities that I just didn't come up with. They're qualities that I've noticed have made a big difference in my own life. And they're also ways of beings that I've noticed in really successful transformational leaders that I know personally. So before I go into these six, I think there's about six of them fundamental shifts that we have to claim to become powerful leaders. I actually want to define a little more what I mean by self-sourced, because a lot of the work I do around the nervous system is about people becoming that self-sourced leader from within. And so for me, a self-sourced CEO or self-sourced leader is someone who has rewired and recalibrated themselves from within. And they essentially become their own source of peace, of approval, of validation, of confidence and authority. They no longer need the outside world to crown them worthy, to make them feel safe, or to essentially validate their value and their authority. When you are self-sourced, that sense of, you have this sense of unwavering trust, of unwavering safety and certainty from deep within you. Like you feel safe within yourself. You feel clear and certain and confident within yourself. You essentially, when you do that, you have this capacity to become what I call like the eye of the storm or the eye of the hurricane, where you're actually able to function in a storm without ever losing your own ground, without ever losing your own way, without ever losing your sense of true north and what it is you're supposed to do and be next. So as a self-sourced leader, you also become extremely attractive to others because that sense of being the most peaceful and powerful force in your life and business allows you to actually become a presence that is like a lighthouse. Like your presence becomes a lighthouse to people, and they start to trust you. They start to be magnetized to you. They start to want to be in your field. So that's what I mean by self-source. It's an inner shift of you feeling so grounded, so safe, so like held in your own being that all your authority, all your confidence, all your certainty and your clarity comes from within. And that actually becomes the very thing that makes you magnetic and makes you a lighthouse in the world. So before I go through each of these qualities, for those of you who don't know me, I want to introduce myself. I'm Ilsa. I'm a total spiritual nerd. For the last 18 years or so, I've been a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, a strategist. I work mainly with entrepreneurs and leaders, although I've worked with people from all walks of life. And I teach my clients how to rewire their nervous system, their lives, their bodies, their businesses for peaceful, consistent growth, easeful receiving, and joyful wealth. For me, a highly successful and deeply nourishing life and business happens at the convergence of emotional freedom, time freedom, and financial freedom. And so that's always the goal of nervous system expansion work. All right, I'm not going to give you a call to action today because I literally have nothing to sell. I sold out all my intensives um, for the year. I'll offer new ones, new spots for my Wired for Wealth intensive where you can learn my process in the new year. That being said, if you've done a Wired for Wealth intensive with me, or you have followed me and you've been wanting to work with me, my program or the way I work with people, emergence, is going up in the new year. So if you know that you want to start the new year in a totally different place and you want to find out more about my program and how to work with me, the prices, what's included, then just DM me. And if you DM me at any point before the 21st of December and you decide it's a fit for you, then I will make sure you get in this year's price. All right, that's what I got for you in terms of DM. Let's get to the process of becoming a self-sourced CEO, leading from your light, becoming essentially a lighthouse in the world. So the first quality that comes back over and over for me, the first massive shift that we have to do so that we can start to truly stand tall and be unwavering in our own light, is love. For me, to be a leader, to be absolutely undimmable and unshakable, it requires that you love what you do and that you absolutely believe in the value of the transformation that you're providing and your ability to provide that transformation. It is essentially that love. Like when you love what you do, you love your process, you love your clients, you love what becomes possible for them by working with you. And you're just in love with providing this to the world. It is that love, it is that unwavering belief that allows you to show up powerfully, even when you feel drained, even when you feel insecure or filled with doubt. It is that love, that belief that allows you to inspire, to lead, to show up, to impart your gifts, even when you might feel shaky. Because being a self-sourced CEO doesn't mean that you're not human. So you're always going to have moments of self-doubt and moments of shakiness, moments of exhaustion. Welcome to being human. Welcome to being an entrepreneur and a leader. But if you love what you do, then even when you've got little doubts or little lack of clarity, you can still show up. You can still hold strong. So the question you want to ask yourself for this level, essentially this shift, is how can you fall more in love with your work, with the people you serve, with your process and your gifts, with what become possible for your clients and also for the world through your work. And one of the things that I've done that's actually made a big difference for me is I made a list. Like, what do I love about my offer? Both for myself, like my emergence program, which is essentially I have one offer, one way to work with people, has everything I love. I love it for me as a practitioner and as a provider, and I love it for my client. It has everything they need and it has everything I love to do when I work with clients, from one-on-one to the group and expansion transformation in group settings. Like, it has everything. So you want to be in love with what you're doing. So make a list. What do you love about your offer? What do you love about the kind of people you work with? What do you love even about marketing and sharing your gifts? And look to some degree where maybe you're lacking love and how to shift that. So you want to make sure you essentially love every single piece of your business. And whatever doesn't feel like you're fully in love with it, what do you need to do? What do you need to shift to actually be more in love with it? So, love is the first self sourced quality. The second one I called anchored. And essentially, for you to truly claim that next level leadership and to become an unwavering, undimmable light in the darkness, you must recalibrate your nervous system to feel so safe in your own being that you don't care what other people think or say about you. So you're so anchored in your own self. You've become so anchored in your own being that you're no longer trying to prove yourself, appease or please anyone else but yourself and your own heart. When you're that anchored, you've become so fully embodied in this sense of having your own back that you feel safe being exactly you and doing exactly what you want to do. So you're no longer afraid to be rejected. You're no longer afraid of being judged. You're no longer um, afraid of looking silly or even failing altogether, because you have anchored your own sense of worth, your own sense of safety, your own sense of value in you and not in others. When you're at that level, everything becomes about your work. You're no longer hiding. You're no longer playing small. You're no longer trying to people please. And you're actually able to truly show up for the people you're meant to serve and for the work you were born to impart to the world. It actually, I could have called this courage. I could have called this quality courage, like being that anchored in your own self, in the sense of having your own back, in the sense that it's safe to be you and it's safe to be here, gives you a sort of courage that frees you up to show up powerfully, to make invitations, to try new things, to market, to sell, and to do all of that without a whole lot of resistance, without a whole lot of fear, without a whole lot of doubt holding you back. So, the questions you want to look at for this quality, this sense of being anchored, where in your life or in your business don't you have your own back? And you might want to take some time with you with this question. Like, where are you abandoning yourself? Where are you still trying to prove yourself worthy or to please or appease others? You might even want to go deeper. Like, when I work with clients, I do a lot of parts work, figuring out what are the parts of us who are afraid to be visible, afraid to be rejected. And so you might check inside and see if you can feel like the parts of you that are still afraid of being judged, of being criticized, of being rejected, or even attacked. If you dare, to be fully yourself, if you dare to be big, if you dare to show up and be visible in your bigness, and see what tightens when you're imagining that. And then see if you can figure out what is it that these parts of you need from you, not from the outside world. What do they need from you to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel supported? What do they need from you to feel safe being you and being here? So that is the second quality, anchored. Being anchored in your own being so that you have no fear of essentially rejection, criticism, and showing up fully. The third quality I called aligned. And it's a little bit an extension for me of the last one. But essentially, for you to truly claim that next level of leadership and to become this unwavering, immovable light in the storm that is sometimes life for our clients, you have to rewire yourself to have unwavering trust in you, trust in your own wisdom, um, so that you're essentially depending and following your own intuitive genius, and you're trusting your own guidance over anybody else's. And this was a big one for me. For a long time, I spent a shit ton of money in all sorts of different mentoring, coaching programs, marketing programs, trying to figure out like what I needed to do to bring in clients. And I swear to you, nothing was working. And I couldn't understand why it was working for someone else, but it wasn't working for me. And that was over time, like literally draining my confidence. Like, well, if it's working for them and it's not working for me, there must be something wrong with me, or people don't want me, or they don't want the gifts I have to offer the world. And it took a while. And there was a point, and it was actually in one of the most expensive programs that I had purchased, and that I have ever purchased. Actually, I've never invested at that level again. But this was a huge investment. It wasn't working for me. I actually had told my husband at the time that this is the program that's going to open everything up. If this doesn't work, then I'll just quit. I'll go back to working locally. I'll find a job, as a therapist working for the state or the county, and we'll let this go. And lo and behold, nothing this program was teaching me was working for me. And at some point, I literally had, like, I could feel the mounting anxiety. I have all this credit card debts paying for this program. It's not working. I told my husband I would quit my business and go back to work. And at some point, I was like, well, fuck it. If it's not going to work, then I'm just going to do me. What is it that would feel easeful for me? What is it I want to do? I know she's telling me to do this and this and this. I know she's telling me to create this kind of offer. I'm not really jazzed up about it. It doesn't feel like me. What do I want to do? And it is the moment that I literally stopped following the 5-figure investment coaching that I received and decided to do me, that things started to move. To this day, my husband will still say, I'm so glad you invested in this program because it really shifted things. I never told him that the program didn't work. And the only thing that shifted things is I stopped listening to what I was being told to do. So alignment is really about letting go of anybody else's thoughts and processes and finding your own. Allowing yourself to forge your own way and to stop trying to fit yourself or your business in a box, somebody else's box, and follow what somebody else is doing or telling you to do with your life or with your business. Alignment is about learning to come back to yourself at yet another level and to start to trust what feels good to you, what feels like you, what feels right, and to actually Learn that you get to succeed, like learn in here, not just up here, but in here, that you get to succeed being you and doing it your way. You don't have to pretzel yourself. You don't have to do a bunch of shit and strategy you hate. You don't have to forego soul and heart over strategy. Because if you do, actually, it's not success because you're going to hate your business anyways, even if you're successful. So essentially, when as a leader, when we come in alignment, we start to trust in our own knowing, even when we're not seeing results immediately. We essentially start to have faith in ourselves and in our own guidance long enough to actually start to see the results, the fruits of our labor. And if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel aligned, that kind of level of leadership gives you the right to let it go and to just say, no, that's not me, and to just do you. So, what are the things, what are the questions you want to ask yourself for this shift or this quality of leadership? Where in your life and in your business are you following another's way? That's first. You're following somebody else's strategy, you're following somebody else's content, you're essentially being like you're being a follower, you're being a consumer rather than being a creator. So, where are you following somebody else's way? And if it's not absolutely aligned with you, if you're not absolutely in love with what you're doing, how can you make it your own? How can you let go of that? So, another question for this is, where in your life or in your business are you doing something that doesn't feel aligned? And if you were not afraid of failing, if you knew in your bones that you could not fail, that the only way to fail is to fail yourself. The only way to fail is to actually fail yourself by doing what doesn't feel right. But if you knew you couldn't fail, if you followed your own guidance, your own love, your own sense of rightness, what would you give yourself permission to be, do, and have? So coming back to alignment. I did an entire live on alignment last week. So if you want more details, and I actually took you through a practice with that, feel free to go back and watch the live from last week, or you can put alignment in the comment and I'll give you the direct link if you don't want to go swipe and look for it. So the next quality, the next powerful shift that allows you to step into that leadership, that self-sourced leadership, is drop comparisons and competition. For you to truly claim that next level leadership, you have to become immovable and unwavering in your own conviction of you, your way, your business. So it's almost like each of these qualities are slightly building on each other. This is the next level after you've essentially stepped into alignment. Truly stop comparing yourself, stop being in competition with anyone else. Your business is essentially a sacred covenant between you, between God or source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, your gifts, and your clients. Let me say that again. Your business is a sacred covenant between you, source, your gifts, the power of your gifts, and your clients. Notice who's not in there. Anybody else in your industry. They have nothing to do with your business and what feels aligned and what feels right and what brings you joy in your business. So when you have rewired your nervous system so you can feel deeply confident in your own right to be here, in your own right to serve in your own authentic way, then you stop, you cease comparing yourself and competing with others. And you start to really realize that actually competition isn't even possible because you are on divine assignment. Your work is wholly unique, it's one of a kind. Sometimes I say it's one without a second. Because even if you're doing something similar to someone else, it can't be the same. That someone else doesn't have you. Your process has you. That in and of itself makes it absolutely unique. So when you start to really get into that next level of alignment where you're not competing, you're not comparing, you are literally at yet another level of leadership because you don't care what others are doing. And I don't mean like what your mentors are telling you. I mean like what other people in your industry are doing. You don't care if it's similar to what you're doing, or you don't care if what you're doing is weird and totally different. You don't care what they're charging. Like you are so at home with yourself, in trust with the process of your gifts, in that divine covenant of your own business, that none of it matters. You have absolute clarity at this point, and you have that conviction that your way is different, that your way is better. And the only reason it's different and it's better is because it includes you and it is perfectly put together for the people you are meant to serve. So rather than comparing ourselves and being in competition with others, true leadership is actually about comparing and being in competition with ourselves, with our greatness. It's about always being able to say, okay, am I operating at the highest level I can operate? Is the work I'm doing that next level work? And am I providing the results and putting myself out there in a way that in the way I know is possible for me? That's who you need to be in competition and compare yourself to. Essentially, you're comparing and being in competition with who you used to be. And so you can notice the gap. You can notice and praise yourself for how you're always moving forward. And you're potentially in competition and in comparisons to something in you that is absolutely fearless. You might not be there yet, but you can almost sense you have a taste of your own greatness, and you're always moving towards that at your own speed. So, what are the questions you want to ask yourself at this level? Here, you want to ask yourself, where are you still comparing and copying others? Where are you still to use the question I asked in the last little shift? Where are you being a consumer rather than being a creator? And when you feel inside yourself, you feel like what's at the center of that? Like what's happening? What are the fears? What's the impetus, the seed for you trusting and looking and comparing yourself to another and following another rather than following and being in comparison to your own greatness? You might want to check in like what parts of you are still doubting your right, your worth, your ability to be here, to lead, to share your gifts exactly the way you want to. What parts of you still don't feel fully safe with you showing up on your own without anybody's authority or anybody's validation? And then the next question for here is, if you truly trusted yourself and your right to be here and to serve and do your business your way, what would you give yourself permission to let go of? And what would you also give yourself permission to do, and to do just as you, without any comparisons or competition? So let's move on. The next quality, the next powerful shift to really step into being a self-sourced CEO is letting go of perfectionism. So in the last one, we're really letting go of others. And here is, we're starting to work within our own self. Trying to do everything right or look just so is often a sign that something in our nervous system doesn't feel safe being us, doesn't feel safe, or doesn't feel like you're enough just as you are. So for you to truly step into that next level of leadership and to become this unwavering, undeemable, unshakable light or lighthouse, you must recalibrate your nervous system to feel like you are more than enough. And you are not only more than enough, like overall, but you are more than enough exactly as you are, exactly in this moment. It isn't, yeah, I'm more than enough when I'm going to become my higher self or my future self. No, 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 no. You are more than enough to serve, to lead right now, exactly as you are. One of the other things we rewire at this level is, and I say that for you, especially if you're a perfectionist, is that you being relaxed, being you, is more powerful than you totally together, complete, perfect. You being authentically you, even if that's messy, even if that doesn't mean having a full face of makeup, even if that means having your hair all over the place or not being dressed up, you being authentically you is always more powerful than you being totally put together, totally complete, totally perfect. Messy and real is not a failure, it's a feature. And for most people, they do not want mentors they cannot relate to. They cannot feel safe enough being themselves. So, you being human and showing up in the flow of things, even if it's not totally done, if it's not totally put together, is more powerful than you showing up perfect or you having something totally finished and complete. Many of the extremely successful entrepreneurs that I know and transformational leaders that I know are not branded particularly, or they were not branded for like a long time. They were not showing up super done up, all dressed up, makeup on, their hair put together. And they definitely do not wait to have everything figured out to start sharing with people or to start executing. They're very comfortable saying, hey, I'm doing this thing. Hey, I'm not totally done with it, but here's what it looks like. Let me know what you think. Do you want it? They essentially really embrace imperfect action and simplicity. They, they embrace the fact that they are enough and perfect enough exactly as they are. And now is the moment, not later, but now is the moment. So if they have an idea, if they have something, now is the moment. They are essentially on what I call team progress over team perfect. And here's the thing, I want to step in and say, you know, if you know me, I don't wear any makeup. I had to get over, like, for a long time, I had a lot of anxiety about showing up on camera because I didn't feel pretty enough, or I had to let go of all that shit. And essentially, I'm all about comfort. I will literally tell my clients, I don't know a lazier person than me. If it takes more, if it's not simple, if it's not easeful, if it requires me to get all dressed up and stuff, I kind of don't want to. And I will tell people, it's like, I never buy clothes I can't wear to bed if I needed to. So I like to be comfortable. I like to be me. That being said, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to look nice or wanting to have a solid brand that you love with the right colors, the right design. My only invitation to you here is to check and make sure that the fuel, the seed, the motivation behind your desire to look good, behind your desire to look professional, behind your desire to have everything look perfect, doesn't mask a sense of unworthiness, not enoughness, scarcity, or lack at the core. Because if we're trying to show up a certain way, if we're putting masks on, if we're putting a face on, trying to look professional and show up as professional because we don't feel enough, it's never going to work. Your nervous system is literally contracted. You can look the part. If you don't feel the part, it's never going to work. And so here are some of the questions you want to ask yourself here. Where in your life and your business are you still trying to be perfect or do everything perfectly? And is it holding you back? Where are you overcomplicating things? Essentially thinking that more is better. And that could show up in your offer too. Keep adding things because you don't think it's enough as it is. Or keep changing your website because it doesn't look exactly the way you are. Where are you overcomplicating things? Where are you adding things? Whether it's adding makeup on your face or adding bonuses to your offer to try to make it good enough. And then look, what's behind that? Does this come from a place of excitement and wanting to share this, or feeling like it's really necessary for people to have all of that? Or does it come from something in you that doesn't feel good enough? And then same thing as before, look inside. Can you feel any parts of you that still feel like they're not enough just as they are? And then what do these parts of you need from you? Not from the outside world, but what do they need to hear and feel from you to start to feel really safe, really supported, being seen exactly as they are, showing up exactly as they are? What do they need from you to feel safe claiming that you are enough just as you are? And then if you had that sense of safety, if you had that sense of unwavering trust that you are enough, unwavering worthiness, what would you give yourself permission to be, do, have, and maybe even stop doing? So that's number 5, letting go of perfectionism. Number 6, I call this quality expansion. So for you to truly embody that next level of leadership and to become a self-sourced CEO, you essentially have to have a reliable way to soothe, to regulate, and to expand your nervous system when you get triggered or when you feel overwhelmed. And so this is, I mentioned this earlier, this is back to, it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter that you are a leader. You will never not be a human. And so for you to be that lighthouse that is unwavering, that is unshakable, that is deeply grounded in your own current, always bright in the darkness, you need a reliable process to help you move past overwhelm, past disappointment, past limiting beliefs fast. A way to help you come out of a state of contraction back into expansion over and over and over with ease. Because a truly empowered leader still feels all the feels, still, still feels all the feels you do. They struggle. They have self doubt. They feel helpless sometimes. They feel disappointed, betrayed, rejected. They procrastinate. They get in their own way. They're human. The only difference between them is that they have the ability to recognize it. They know when it's happening and they don't stay stuck for long because they have a process that they can use to come back into regulation, to come home to themselves, to soothe, to truly anchor their identity in expansion. So this isn't about always being an expansion. This is about, and I will say I'm sure if you followed me at all, you've heard me say this before. Contraction is not the absence of expansion. It's the request for expansion. Contraction is literally the thing that reminds you, hey, something needs to be attended to so you can come back into expansion. It's the request for that process. So when I work with people, even in that initial Wired for Wealth intensive that I offer at 55% off, I teach my hatching process. And my hatching process, I have a lot of different expansion hacks that I give clients when I work with them. But the expansion, the hatching process is essentially the thing that I teach to bring people out of contraction, back into expansion over and over and over in a couple minutes. You need to have your own thing that you do that is that. And if you don't know how to do that, then get in touch with me. DM me. Let's schedule, even if we schedule it for the new year, let's schedule an intensive. Let's get you in my program so you can learn how to do this for yourself right away. The questions you want to ask yourself here is, one, do you have a process that you use to stay aware of yourself? Like, how do you know when you're in contraction? How do you know when your energy is low, when you're in overwhelm? The first step is always awareness. If you don't know that, oh, I just unplugged. I'm a lighthouse and I just unplugged from my power source. No wonder I can't be a light in the world. I'm just unplugged. There's nothing wrong with me. I just need to replug back in. So you need to have a way to know when you are out of alignment, when you are disconnected to your own sense of safety from within. And then you can ask yourself, like, can you feel the parts of you that still feel small, that feel overwhelmed, that feel stuck, that feel wounded, like they're not enough, they're not strong enough, they don't have the capacity to be a leader? And can you send them love? Can you sense what is it that they need from you to come back to center and to feel deeply safe and supported, being themselves, being here, and leading? And then start creating a list of all the things you can do to help yourself come out of contraction and bring yourself back, anchor back into identity. So these are the core qualities I have. I want to give you one bonus one to kind of bring it full circle. I want to bring it back to love. A truly empowered leader, a self-sourced CEO, somebody who's deeply anchored in being themselves and following their own genius, essentially. They rather fail doing what they love and doing it their way than succeed doing something that doesn't feel like them. They're not afraid of failure. They're afraid of failing themselves. They'd rather fail doing what they love than succeed doing something that doesn't light them up, that doesn't feel fun and expansive. And here's the truth. In some ways, when you love what you do and you follow the trail of your own desires, your own longing, your own flow, you can't ever fail, because whatever happens, whatever you do, you're always going to love your life. And this was big for me. Like when I realized that when I go after what feels like me, and when I design an offer, a way of working with people that feels really good to me, yes, it's not as scalable as some other ways of doing it, but I feel so connected to my clients. I feel so good doing the work I do that it doesn't matter. I can't fail. But if I do shit I don't like, if I follow the guidance of people in a way that doesn't feel aligned to me, or I try to sell things that I'm not really excited about, or I edit myself in some ways, or I try to look a certain way, then I'm going to sabotage everything I do. And whatever success I accomplish won't really feel as success because it won't feel good. And because it doesn't feel good, it also won't be sustainable. Like you can't, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you literally can't do something you don't love long term. You will burn out. And here's the thing, I'm going to tell you something. I have a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders around me, either as colleagues, we're in the same coaching programs, or as clients. And starting and growing a business, becoming a true leader is tough. Yeah, I'm all about ease and effortless. And yes, like doing the nervous system work literally like puts you on that path. But the truth is, truly growing a successful business is tough. And there's a ton of people who fail at it. And a lot of those people who fail at it are people who do everything right. They're showing up, they're following the marketing rules, they have mentors and coaches that are telling them what to do, they're following up to the line. Sometimes they copy other people. For me, like to a degree that's borderline on plagiarism, thinking that if it's working for them, it will work for me. You know, they're taking people's posts and putting them on Chat GPT and trying to make it their own a little bit. Like, and you know what? None of that shit works. Like thinking that if it worked for someone else, it will work for you, doesn't work. And it doesn't work because as long as you're not doing it your way, as long as you don't love and feel deeply aligned and supported in your work, in your own business, as long as you haven't anchored in that sense of safety from within and claimed your enoughness, your nervous system is in contraction. And when your nervous system is contracted, it blocks your ability to be seen and to receive. So you can do, but literally it's like nothing's working because you're like the you're like the castle with the moat up. Like the bridge is up. No, there's a wall around you. No, like you're armored. Like your nervous system is literally armored because your business doesn't feel good. So because you're not doing it your way, because you're not doing something you're totally aligned with, there's something in your nervous system that literally says, I don't want clients that way. I don't want success that way. I don't want to get busy doing what I don't love. And so the results don't flow in. It's not that you're not doing enough. It's that you're not doing it your way. So it becomes this weird catch-22, this vicious cycle when we're out of alignment, we're doing, we're chasing for a missing link, for the secret that will unlock our results, that will unlock our success. But I'm going to tell you what that is. I'm going to tell you what the missing link, the secret is. The missing link is you. You are the common denominator in every experience you have. You're the common denominator in every cell you make. If it doesn't feel right for you, if you're not doing you, if your nervous system has not been recoded from within to feel safe being big, to be a match for the life and the results you want, to familiarize yourself with the results you want, then you are still operating from an old program, from an old identity. And that old program, that old identity is literally blocking your results. It's wired, that old program is wired to keep you small, to keep you silent, to keep you struggling and unseen, because those things are often what you're familiar with, and it is what keeps you safe. Being big can be very scary, but being big makes you a bigger container so you can be seen more, but you can also receive more. So that's the work, you, and unlocking like your uniqueness, you in all caps, and unlocking and unbinding your nervous system for more is the secret to your ability and your capacity to create, receive, and hold more, to bring in the results that you want, to become the brilliant leader that you know you were born to be. I want to show you this. This is my Kuan Yin statue. I have this pretty powerful relationship with Kuan Yin. She's the goddess of compassion and love and mercy, I think mainly in Chinese lore. And I love this statue because she's riding a dragon. And for me, it always reminds me to succeed, I have to be soft, open, loving, and I have to be fierce. I have to be a dragon. So, as the dragon, you can claim your authority. You can decide that you're breaking all the rules and you're going to do it your way. And then you have that loving, softer side that is willing to lean back and to trust and to open and to receive. It takes both of those things to succeed and to be a powerful leader. That fierceness, that I will not be fucking denied. I have a right to be here. How the fuck do I know? Because I am here. Yeah. See, when I turn into the dragon, I do a little cursing. How do you know you have a right to be here? You have a right to serve because you have a damn desire to serve. If you weren't supposed to serve, you wouldn't feel like serving. You'd feel like doing something else. So the fact that you are here, the fact that you have something to share, the fact that you have a desire to share it means that it's exactly what you're meant to do. And you anchor into that conviction to bring you the courage to claim that authority, to claim your worth, to claim your value. And then there is the love. You love yourself, you love your clients, you love your business, you nurture all of that, you open, you lean back, you receive. It's the masculine and the feminine energy in perfect marriage. And you need both to be that self-sourced CEO, to be that powerful leader. Because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for a leader who feels so anchored in their own fullness, so safe being here and doing themselves, that their presence is a healing balm. Their presence is a compass, is a lighthouse in the stormy journey that is life. People are looking for you to lead from your light. They're looking for to experience your own expansion. If you followed me, you've also heard me say this. People don't buy what you're selling. They buy the expansion they sense in you, and they sense it's possible for them by working with you. You cannot sell if you are not anchored in that expansion. People want to be unleashed. They want to be free from whatever's keeping them stuck, from whatever box they're in. They too want joy. They want expansion. They want freedom. They want authenticity. and they're going to gravitate, and they're going to be magnetized by mentors who lead and who emanate and move from that energy. So that's your big work. Nothing small, I know. So when you're leading from your light, when your nervous system is deeply anchored in regulation and expansion, that's when you're actually able, because nervous system work in resonance with each other, they tend to calibrate to each other. It's called empathic resonance. That's when other people, by being in your presence, will start to expand, will start to regulate all on their own, and they will want to keep working with you. Essentially, when you are self-sourced, you become a source of peace, of prosperity, and of confidence for anyone who's around you. So once again, I'm going to come back to, like, just ask yourself, how do I love what I do more? How do I come back into a place of absolute alignment and absolute conviction that I have a right to be here, that I have something to share? And look for anything and everything in your business and in your life that doesn't feel like you, or that doesn't feel deeply nourishing and fulfilling, and keep shifting it until it feels like you, and it feels right, and it feels delightful to you, because then it will be really easy to sell. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. As I stated earlier, I'm not doing a CTA because I sold all my Wired for Wealth intensive for this year. But I do want to share with you, if you've either done a Wired for Wealth intensive with me in the past and didn't move forward, but you've been wanting to, or even if you haven't done an intensive, but you've been wanting to work with me and you just kind of been like pushing it back or biding your time, my prices are going up at the end of December. And so if you're wanting to find out about my program and about possibly getting in and working with me at the lower rates, essentially at the old rates, then DM me or message me before Christmas, essentially by the 21st or so. And I'll send you all the details so that you know whether or not it's a right fit. I might even get on a 20-minute call or 15-minute call with you if you want to chat about it. And then if you decide to move forward, I'll give you access at the old rate. All right, that's what I have for you. I'm sending you love. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Don't forget, you are the most powerful and peaceful force in your own life and business. Everything you need is within you.